Hello, folks. Once again, we're back with the Black Health and Wealth Show. I'm your host, Kevin Boyette, and today I'm honored to be with Michele Coleman of Medicine Earth Wellness. Also, you can find her at her website, medicineearthwellness.com. Michele, welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so as an herbalist, this is something new for me. So Can you tell me what an herbalist actually is?
Yes. An herbalist is a wellness practitioner that simply uses herbs or plants in a medical way, or to treat, I wouldn't say treat, but to support a person in their journey to better health.
Okay, so what type of training does an herbalist have to receive? I know that you just can't go grab any plants and flowers and stuff out of your yard and say, I'm an herbalist. So what type of training do herbalists receive?
So although a lot of people do grab plants and use them for medicine because they know how, so a professional herbalist or a clinical herbalist can actually receive training at a number of herbal schools. There are also master's degree programs that are offered in herbalism, and then other courses of study that support that. So there are specific herbal schools.
Okay, so is this herbal medicine, is it safe? Is it to take, or is it toxic? Is it
Well, I think that one of the things that we need to definitely clarify is what herbalism or what herbal medicine is. And what it is not. So I think many people, when they think of herbalism, they think of a pill that you take, maybe something that they might see on television, or someone recommended, that they take a specific herb for something. But herbalism goes a lot deeper than that. Herbs are food.
Okay.
And plants are food. And since plants were our first medicine, and food was our first medicine, then it's safe to say that herbs are as safe as food can be, and there are some foods and there are some things that even in nature that we should avoid, and there are other things that we just need to learn how to use and know how to use them for our health.
Okay. So I'm sure there are studies out there that support the things that you just talked about. Can you mention some of those?
Well, I think that one of the challenges of being an herbalist is the internet. The internet can be our best friend or our greatest foe. Okay. And by that I mean, sometimes you can go on the internet and you can Google something or you can search for something and you get varied answers and information about a particular thing. So you may do an online search about a particular herb, and in many places find that it's wonderful, it's safe, and then other places, you'll find someone will say that, oh my goodness, it's awful, it will kill you, And that is why we need herbalists, because herbalists are trained to know what is safe to use, and not only that, but what would be specific for you to use.
So you talked about clinical herbalists and people going to school and getting this training. What's the difference between an herbalist or taking the herbs and taking the prescription drugs, taking the pharmaceuticals?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of pharmaceuticals are plant-based. But because plants can't be patented, pharmaceutical companies have to add things and put a label on it to be able to use it. So, for example, willow bark is used in pain relievers.
Okay.
But, a company who makes pain relievers like an aspirin or something like that, they wouldn't be able to patent willow bark. So they may put willow bark in a pain formula and add some other things.
And it might be the main ingredient
Could be.
Right.
It could be the thing that actually makes the pain relief happen. Yes.
Right.
But again, since herbs can't be patented, then other things have to be added, and you put a label on, and then you can sell it.
Okay. Okay.
So the pharmaceuticals, since many of them are plant-based, I would say that there are pharmaceuticals that could have a good effect, and that could be used with some success. However, many people complain about side effects, or they complain about having to use pharmaceuticals for the rest of their lives. They will come and they will say, well, my doctor says that there's nothing that can be done for whatever is going on with me, and I'm told that I have to take this drug for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And many people aren't satisfied with that, and they're looking for other ways to get help for certain conditions and an illness without having to deal with the side effects or having to take the amount of pharmaceuticals, the number of pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm. So can you replace the pharmaceuticals with the herbs?
I think that it's wise to work with a medical doctor. If you're on prescriptions, it's wise to work with a medical doctor so that you can use herbs along with your pharmaceuticals. And then for people who come in and say, I definitely do not want to be on these pharmaceuticals, I think it's best to, again, work with that doctor to move that person toward being able to stop certain pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. You can't always do that. But so I'll give you an example. I used to take pharmaceuticals for allergies. And I took them for a number of years. Through my childhood, young adulthood, I used pharmaceuticals. And, if they weren't putting me to sleep, they just weren't working.
Right.
So, and many years later, I discovered that herbs not only worked for, my allergy symptoms, but now my allergies have been totally eradicated.
Okay.
They're gone. So in that case,
I got to ask what herb that is that you're taking. I got to ask what, because somebody out there is going to ask me what was she taking?
What did she take? Yeah. So the herbs that I took were Chinese herbs, and okay. it was a formula. The formula was made specifically for my allergy symptoms.
Okay.
So the wonderful thing about herbal medicine is that it's not a one pill fits all person. So most people will come in and say, oh, I have allergies, I'm taking Zyrtec, or I'm taking Flonase, or so many people who have allergies kind of get the same thing for them. My herbal formula was given to me by my acupuncturist, as a matter of fact, and she asked what my symptoms were. She wanted to know what I was allergic to, what I experienced when I was exposed to those things, and that formula was made up specifically for me. And
it sounds like your acupuncturist had a conversation with you to find out what was more, right. As opposed to, okay, let me scribble this down and here you go, take this to CVS yes. and to the pharmacy and go get it filled.
Yes. So the great thing about having an herbalist is that you have to sit down in a consultation and talk about your life. Mm-hmm. Herbalists don't just pick herbs and hand them to you and send you out the door.
Okay.
And that's a gripe that many people have when they see allopathic doctors. They walk in, they say,
what kind of doctor?
A medical doctor.
Okay.
Okay. So as opposed to a naturopathic doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. So their complaint is that they walk in, they don't get touched, right. They don't feel that they've been heard, and then they're kind of ushered out the door with a prescription that's pretty much going to just address their symptoms.
Right.
So when you go to see an herbalist, what happens is if you came to see me, we would schedule not less than an hour and a half to sit and talk about you, your lifestyle, what you're eating, what your day is like, what your sleep is like. We would do diagnostics and really get a sense of who you are and how you're wired. So I may not give you the same thing that I would give maybe your wife if she came in. If she had allergies or if she had a cough and you had a cough, you all may walk away with 2 different protocols based on how you're hardwired and the type of cough that you have. So, for instance, we all used to take Robitussin when we were kids.
Robitussin cured everything.
Everybody took Robitussin. And so if there was a cough going on in our house, my mother had a bottle of Robitussin. Now, the people that make Robitussin didn't say back then, well, depending on where your cough is coming from, the type of cough that you have, this is what I want you to take. Everybody took, right. So it suppressed the cough. But what if I had a cough that was dry and you had a cough that was productive? So you heard rattling in your chest, and you're coughing, coughing up mucus and So we would take the same thing. But I would kind of want you to cough because I want that stuff to move. So suppressing it means you leave it there in your chest to fester and turn into something worse.
Right.
Right.
And end up with pneumonia or something like that.
So you don't want to suppress. You don't always want to suppress a cough. You want whatever is in there out. But I may want to suppress your cough. As an herbalist, I may say, well, Kevin, we will give you something to calm that cough a little bit so that you can sleep at night. But then during the day, I would want to encourage you to cough. Mothers tend to flip out when their kids have a fever. But, we have to understand that fevers happen for a reason. And our bodies are very intelligent. So if the body is heating up to cook something bad, something that's going on in the body, it's going to heat it up to get rid of it, kill it. And we are suppressing the fever, then the body's not able to do what it's designed to do. Okay. Now, of course, if fevers get ridiculously high, we need to keep them under control. But, it is always, it's always good to know how the body operates when it's trying to heal.